So here we are, guys. We finally have the name for the Five Nights at Freddy's book, and the name is actually very interesting and might possibly lead on to what this book is all about.
Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes.
So what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is the Ryan here.
And welcome to our newest video, of course, talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's novel that is, of course, being teased on scottgames.com. Now, this actually updated last night and revealed the name of the book.
Yes, I really wasn't expecting this one, to be honest. Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes. Obviously, as soon as you think about this title, you'd think back to either the Purple Man, Golden Freddy, or the Puppet.
Exactly, yes, because of course, we know all of these guys to contain the white pupils, but let's actually whittle this down a little bit and just discuss more in depth about each of these characters and the Silver Eyes, because me personally, I think he's more referring to the Purple Man as a whole, because if you remember in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, more specifically with the puppet, his eyes wouldn't actually be illuminated until he was in this ghostly form floating around the environment.
Yeah, whereas in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, in the minigame, the rare minigame where he actually captures you, his eyes are always glowing, and in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 minigames, his eyes are always glowing in there, and also when he's inside Springtrap, his eyes are also glowing there.
Exactly.
Also, the fact that Scott said that this book is going to be more of a human element kind of suggests that it's going to be about the purple guy.
Exactly, because let's think back as well, guys, to all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games that we've actually played so far. Now, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was the first game to introduce the Purple Man as a whole and as this character who really had a big impact in the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's, because, of course, you know, we all knew this guy as the murderer, and he kind of seems like he may have started all of this, the kind of happenings of the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Yeah, obviously in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the only evidence we got to suggest there were murders were newspaper clippings, whereas in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we were actually introduced to this supposable murderer. And with this whole dream theory got on the go, it kind of makes you think why this scenario even exists. So I think that the book might explain this, why this child might have been misconceived into believing this guy was a murderer.
Absolutely, because, you know, we have to consider the fact that the games were actually through the eyes of this child, presumably, and we always see this Purple Man as this really kind of evil, sinister character, always out to really cause hell in all of the establishments. So I think it'll be very interesting because we might actually see this novel through the perspective of a different character, so maybe we'll actually know the true connotations and linkages to this Purple Man and really what he actually has to offer for the Five Nights at Freddy's establishments, rather than just being this blunt-faced murderer. Yeah,
definitely. I think we need to hear the story from his perspective and it's just interesting because if the whole Springtrap thing didn't actually happen, then it makes you think what is going to happen.
Interesting, yeah.
Well, that's if it did happen. We don't know if it did or didn't happen yet, but hopefully it will be explained in this book.
Yeah, so these are the things that are kind of conflicting now, isn't it? Because, you know, there's all these really deep theories going around. It seems like more is settling with the dream theory, so we're starting to think what actually happened and what didn't. But, you know, I really do think this will be from the perspective of maybe just an employee, because, you know, the phone guy was also the only voice we actually heard in the game, so for all we know, it could be from his perspective as kind of like the overseer of everything else that's happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, guys, so now we've kind of discussed what potentially might be within the plot line, but now we're actually going to talk more about this novel's front cover, or should I say potential front cover, because of course this is subject to change, and there's still a couple of days before it's released. So the first thing we can notice is a few additions added actually in the background.
Yeah, these are the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 versions of the Freddy and his gang, so there's Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy all in the background there.
Absolutely, and it's very interesting because the first thing I actually thought when I saw this was, and I actually picked up on it when we first spoke about this, was the fact that he seems to be using the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 models of these animatronics out of all of the series and all of the characters we've actually seen, and interestingly enough, he's actually not using Fredbear, which seems a bit more appropriate.
This could potentially be just to pay homage to the Five Nights at Freddy's original cast, maybe. Obviously, this is it just says Five Nights at Freddy's. We know the first Five Nights at Freddy's to involve all 4 of these characters, and this is where it all began, kind of. So maybe that's his way of saying, you know, this is the main attraction.
Interestingly enough as well, thinking about that title, he's again talking about Freddy Fazbear and the gang. There's no mention of Fredbear, so again, this kind of backs up the whole concept that maybe this could be from the perspective of the child, perhaps, who's suffering with all this, seeing these things in the way they are. But, you know, once again, guys, it's still not very clear, and, you know, all we can do is really kind of throw guesses forward at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at the actual Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy in the background there, you can see that they're very transparent, almost like they're ghosts.
Yes.
And you picked up on the point that it looks like Foxy's actually faded out into the background, and this could be like a metaphor for this child's figment of imagination.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you actually zoom in quite close to the Chica animatronic in the background, you can actually see this animatronic is slightly see-through. You can see some of the branches behind them, and it's just interesting as well how Bonnie's almost disguised as this tree. And as you've said before as well, Foxy is most certainly fading into the background there. And it does seem very interesting and almost like he's trying to put forth some kind of metaphor for this all being the child's imagination and, you know, these guys not actually being real, but maybe having some really deep impact to the child, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. And it just makes you think about the story in general, really, because, like, the audience of this book are actually very young, so it makes you think if it's going to be like a picture book or something like that, like with more of these kind of images in it to suggest more of the dream theory or the murder theory. It would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting because, yeah, all he said really is that it's a novel, so it's definitely going to contain some text of some form, but we don't know if it's going to contain pictures, any backstory. I mean, it's had 10 months to be worked on, guys, so, you know, we really can't guess anything other than the fact that Scott's definitely been working with a writer, and in terms of picture and things like that, I think that would be a nice addition throughout the book to kind of help purge forward the various ideas and basically the concepts within the book that we're definitely not going to have heard of.
Yeah, definitely.
And as a final thing, guys, as well, talking about the art style for the Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy in the back, this could actually just be for artistic traits and not have any further meaning than that. So, guys, it's worth to consider both ends of every story and not just be mindset on one, regardless of how really bulletproof it is.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Matt Pat before put a bulletproof theory out about Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, and they were highly believable. And each theory, that's what's so great about this game. Each theory can be plausible, really, and that's what's so awesome about this. And just to let you guys know, we've brightened up this image, and there's nothing there.
Nothing there, absolutely, guys. And the only thing that we can really pick up on is the fact that there is actually a purple tinge to the sky. But once again, this is a natural occurrence and may not actually mean anything in regards to the color purple and possibly any characters you can link it to.
Yeah.
So there we have it, guys. That was, of course, talking about the newest announcement for the Five Nights at Freddy's novel and actually receiving its name. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this one, and be sure to comment down below any of your thoughts in relation to what you actually think this book might be about, because it'd be interesting to hear from you guys too.
Yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, why not leave a like rating down below, and if you're new to our channel, why not subscribe for more interesting videos like this and also some gameplay footage as well.
So thank you so much for watching the video, guys. We of course hope you did enjoy, and we'll of course see you on the next one.
Goodbye, guys.
Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?